Hello, beautiful ladies. There is a video I really want to reference and share with you, but unfortunately the creator took it down, so I have to share this idea with you unattributed. And it's a great idea. It's one that really needs to be out there. And so I'm glad I'm here making videos so that the video gets back out there, because this is really an idea that I've shared amongst my friends. And so I can go back to my old texts and use the old link, and it does not work. I know it's been taken down, but it's a great idea. The idea is that if you want men to treat you better, you have to be delulu that your dad was the most perfect provider and protector dad there was. The content creator called this the Home Depot dad. Now, when I was younger, I was displeased with my home situation and I left pretty young. I left at 18. And I thought that's all I needed to do to have a better life. And I was pretty surprised that, having left, I was still having mental troubles that I had attributed to the situation I was in. And in the book, The Body Keeps the Score, which I talk about all the time here, it explains that if you were in that situation, that your dad was not the most perfect provider and protector, and of course this book, lists the worst extremes of that, which is, abuse and neglect, then when you leave home, that doesn't actually guarantee you a life of safety. Most likely, you're going to have higher incidences of other people mistreating you than the general population, which I didn't know leaving my family. And I'm glad we have this book to teach us about it, and I'm glad my words are getting out about it. So what is the Home Depot dad? The content creator described it as the dad who is always there for you, can fix anything. Every time you come over to visit, he goes to your car, gives your car an inspection. If you were to ever run out of gas, you could call him up and he'd, be right over, give you a gallon of gas. And for me, I don't drive, so, I understand all of these car analogies, but they didn't directly apply to me. And she told us that, if we don't have a dad like this, what we need to do is be totally delusional that we have all these things just, at the snap of our fingers for our dad to help us out with. I decided to do a little bit easier of a visualization for this idea. So there's two approaches to visualization, right? You can visualize something that you've never experienced before, is way out there, and it's harder. Or you can visualize something that's a little closer to reality, and because you yourself understand it to be more true, you're going to have an easier time getting yourself to believe that it's true. So I love feminine energy teachers that they, always want us to be in wonderful abundance mindset and not try to manifest from a place of lack. But there are advantages both ways. There are advantages to, reaching for the stars in manifestation. And there are advantages to believing in the things that are easier for you to believe, because it will be more likely to work. You can go for the stars and really convince yourself that it really can happen. It's going to be harder, and you definitely should if that's what you want to do. But I decided to do the easier route. So what I did after listening to that video is, over and over again, I pictured my dad doing the thing that seemed the closest to me, like the closest real childhood memory of my dad being the perfect Home Depot dad, which is I had a memory of my dad assembling a bike that he bought me for one Christmas. And I just visualized him doing it over and over again. This book, The Body Keeps the Score, tells us we need to do work with our mind, not always with our minds. Sometimes we need to do work with our body instead, because it's hard to sometimes change our mind. And sometimes it's easier to start with the body, but we do need to do work in order to get our brain to understand that whatever happened to us is not going to happen again. Because of course we don't leave bad situations and think they're going to happen again. But it happens if you don't do the work to have yourself understand that you're safe. There's, if you want an example from my own life of how my father is a perfect provider and protector, just for another example of something you could use. My dad's not always there for me, but one way in which he is there for me is that I could literally call him up at any time and tell him I'm going back to college, and he would say, okay, how much? And that's a wonderful way for him to protect me and provide for me. You're welcome to use that in your own delulu if you would like. I hope this helps you out. We can make our lives better from all directions. We can go to therapy. We can, remind ourselves that we are safe in a very logical way. And we can also do it in the delulu way. We have all these options for ourselves. This is also a really good thing to remember, because if one is totally delulu that their dad was a perfect provider and protector, not only are they going to be energetically a way that lets the people around them know that they are always treated well, and the people around them will know they are always treated well, and predators won't touch you because they know they can't get away with anything with you. You aren't used to being treated like that. But it also is very good to say the words that you would say as if your dad were a perfect provider and protector. So, when you're dating and getting to know somebody, or even in friendship, just make sure the first words out of your mouth about your family aren't the bad things, Let them know the good things. I didn't understand when I was younger and, before I learned about feminine energy, that there was any downside to letting friends and dates know how bad my past was. And now that I know feminine energy, and now that I'm listening to men talk from a different perspective, with me from a different perspective, I hear them more when they say that, a woman with a particular history is someone you shouldn't date, that's, which is something that if I had heard of in the past, I would have just rejected. I would have just thought, that's misogyny, women don't become garbage if something happens to her. But I understand it now. And it is really, really funny how people think so differently of you based off of the very first story that you tell them about your family. I've noticed this pattern forever, it can be that, first 5 stories you tell about your family, if they're good, they're not going to think your family is so bad, when you get around to telling them about the bad stuff. But if you tell the bad stuff first, they, either friends or dates, will hear these stories from a perspective of, your family was never there for you. So even if they were really great stories of how your family was really there for you, they're not going to hear that. I think that this also helps you with not trauma dumping and not oversharing, which are two terms I didn't know about when I was younger. I definitely, as part of what I understood at the time that I needed to do for my healing, I definitely shared a whole lot of what's happened to me. And I think the general cultural narrative has changed, and that is less popular than it was in the past. I hope this has helped you. And you're welcome to spread the word about this idea. It's not my idea, and I really think the word should be spread about it instead of the video having been taken down and we don't hear about it anymore. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.